The world is changing. I feel it in the remote. I feel it in the TV. I smell the popcorn in the microwave. Much of the streaming services that were are lost, for none now live who subscribe to them. It began with the forging of the great streaming services. 4 simultaneous screens were gifted to Netflix, immortal, wisest and distributor of DVDs. 2 screens to the Hulu lords, great streamers and purveyors of Seinfeld. And an incomplete catalog of movies and TV shows was gifted to DC Universe, who above all else desired validation. For within these streaming services was bound the strength and will to stream each show. But they were all of them deceived, for another streaming service was made. In the land of Disney, in the fires of the Magic Kingdom, the Dark Lord Mickey forged in secret a master streaming service to control all others, and within this streaming service, he poured Marvel and Star Wars and this will to dominate all life. One streaming service to rule them all.
Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture, comics, and gaming podcast. Today, we are talking Disney Plus launch day, what we're most looking forward to, and guilty pleasure movies and TV shows. I'm Blade O'Neill.
I'm Lance O'Neill.
But today is the long-awaited day. Disney Plus has finally launched.
It's super, amazing. I'm so excited. Goodbye, Netflix.
So this is pre-recorded. So within our reality, Disney Plus has not launched. But in your reality, that you are all now listening to us, Disney Plus is here. And one of the things I'm probably most excited about is we getting a first look at The Mandalorian.
I really, really hope it's as good as some of the trailers have been.
Have you been watching the trailers?
I watched the first 2. I kind of stopped after that because I'm not too huge into trailers because I don't want it to ruin
me too,
moments,
especially in TV shows. I like the Netflix Marvel shows. I never after a certain point I stopped watching the trailers.
Well, I think it also just gets to a point where it's like I don't need to be sold. I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point? And then I felt the same way. Honestly, I haven't watched Star Wars Episode 9. I haven't even watched. I watched the first trailer just because it's the first trailer.
I couldn't help it.
I haven't watched the last one. I know it's that they just put out. I know it's. Supposedly I heard it was really good, but I don't want anything to be spoiled because it's the finale and it's really...
Here's the thing, as I think episode 9 is being handled like Endgame and they're not showing anything. I think if you remember the Endgame trailers, what did they show?
They didn't show anything.
Tony Stark was stuck in space. Yep, we knew that.
They
have to figure out a way to undo this. Yep, we know that. Did we have any idea really that it was time travel aside from maybe looking at the suits and trying to figure out what they're doing? No.
And they even faked some of the trailer too.
Oh yeah,
they put people in there that weren't supposed to be in there or whatever the case was. So yeah, Marvel Studios they're in a class of their own. So
now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the episode 9 trailer looked bad because I'm very excited. I'm probably more excited for episode 9 than any Marvel movie up until this point. But I don't get why everyone's like, oh, that looks so good, because to me, the episode 9 trailer really didn't show anything. Especially the latest one. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, seeing the characters doing something.
Yeah,
I think it was I have no idea.
I think it was more of it didn't really answer questions, just made you ask more questions.
You talking about episd 9?
Yes, yeah. Because it's
even the final trailer was like that.
The trailer where it's like, I don't know if anyone's trying to avoid. So if you are, maybe just you hold your ears for a second. But she pulls out 2 red lightsabers or double-sided red lightsabers. Like what? What is that? It doesn't. It's not maybe necessarily a spoiler, but it just makes you think like, it's supposed to make you think is she on the dark side? We don't even know if it's actually a red lightsaber. It could be blue, because Marvel's done that where they change colors of things, so it's not.
Well, immediately, according to J.J. Abrams, that was from a vision.
Oh,
so
okay.
Immediately
I didn't hear that.
They're saying that this is like a vision sequence, so it already doesn't matter. So like, and if something like that was to happen in the movie, they're not going to show that in the teaser trailer. Like, this movie is so under wraps. So like, I think it's safe to say that that is not going to actually happen.
Fair
like
enough.
that is not something that they
I
would
can see
reveal. And since it is something that's not happening, they're using it to draw people in. But like you were saying, you know, shifting gears back here to the Mandalorian, like you're right. Like I'm going to watch this. I don't even need a trailer. If a trailer didn't even come out for the Mandalorian and they just had some posters or something, like, yeah, like let's do this. Like we're getting a live action Star Wars show.
We all know that the trailers are they're not necessarily for the fans.
You're
they're
right.
for the everyday
Yes,
person who's just
you're right.
like, maybe I'll turn this on. Maybe I won't.
Absolutely. But I did not see the newest one. I saw that the Mandalorian character finally talked. Now, I will point out that even on the merchandise, this character is called the Mandalorian.
Yes.
So even though everyone has a name, there's something going on with this character's name that must be a spoiler in my mind, because even on the Black Series figures, the Funko Pops, he's called the Mandalorian. He's not called whatever. I mean, everyone's really denying that he's Boba Fett.
He said he wasn't Boba Fett.
I understand that. And I'm not saying he's Boba Fett, but maybe he's the son of Boba Fett. So something Fett, you know, just that.
I thought it's not a prequel to Boba Fett.
This takes place after Return of the Jedi, and it's a rise of the First Order is what's happening. So that's the time period. So that's why there's
gotcha.
stormtroopers, but the First Order is starting to loom in the background. So this is post-Return. So that's why I'm saying son of Boba Fett. I know that might be crazy, and it doesn't, no, he doesn't have to be someone. And if he is nobody, like, I don't care. But to me, why are you not telling us his name unless it was something we would get?
Right.
You know?
Or that could spoil what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, so sometimes, like, because he's not just the Mandalorian. He has a real name. When we're getting that, I don't know. But why are we hiding it if it wasn't something we would understand what it was?
What if he's a Boba Fett clone that just came out really, really good? Like the best clone of Boba Fett.
You know what? All the denying that he's Boba Fett could just be the cover-up that he was Boba Fett.
It could be.
You know, like, really, that's what this could come down to. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But if he is a Fett, if you will, or something along those lines, I'm just saying, like, why are we hiding his name? I'm just pointing that out there right now. And we are recording this the Saturday before Disney Plus. So if I'm right about anything, I called it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What time did they give a time when it launches?
I thought it was just, you know, all day, you know, like
It launches at midnight Eastern time, or
you know, honestly, I don't know. We have to double check that, but there's so much to watch, you know.
there is a lot to
it
watch.
almost doesn't matter. But I
What's
think the
great
Mandalorian is one of the things I'm most excited for.
I'm kind of running out of things to fall asleep to,
Yes,
and now I'm gonna have all the things to fall asleep to. You know, I'm gonna have X-Men.
I was gonna say X-Men the animated series is
Spider-Man the
going
animated
to make
series.
the rotation of nighttime things, because right now it's The Office, Archer, and then sometimes Gumball and We Bare Bears.
Yeah, right now my rotation is might be a little American Dad, but for the most part, it's been like Bob's Burgers or just YouTube, putting, you know, different YouTube channels on there.
I really hope it would be really neat if they can, if you can make, like, I know they're not probably won't do this, but if you make like playlists so you can fall asleep to like a Marvel marathon. If
Right.
they had like a Marvel marathon
I don't know
mode,
why-
or a Star Wars marathon mode.
Why doesn't any of them do it? Like Netflix has been around forever. What are you waiting for me to just make a list of like, hey, play a rotation of anything of these 5 shows that I love?
You know what's been my biggest problem with the way Netflix, like when you're binging something, if you will, it's like you only
Are you
get
still
like
watching?
3 you only get like 3 episodes or an hour worth, and it's like, are you still watching? I was like,
That drives
like,
me
yes.
crazy.
And you know, it wakes me up in the middle of the night
'cause
because I have to click OK.
Right, 'cause there's
no
silence.
yes.
Yeah.
And, like, I
Yes.
can't sleep.
It's so
I grew up on a
annoying.
busy street in New York. Like, I need noise.
Yeah, I can't.
That's what I absolutely love about Hulu, because it lasts most of the night and I only have to do it once.
That's what I love about
I sleep so much better.
PlayStation View. They have the option for me to turn it off.
See, I was looking for that on Netflix, and I Googled it, and I
everyone's complaining. If you Google it, people complain that you can't turn it off. So I don't know where it's been around forever.
The argument is that they don't want you to miss it. I'm like, but what if I want to just have it looping in the background? Like, you're not giving me that option.
Yeah, just make it an option. It's not that hard to change.
Simple.
Just to have a setting where I can turn it off. I understand if you like, a Marvel show came out, right? And you're watching it at night and you end up falling asleep to it for whatever reason. And then you wake up and it's the season finale and you're like, what happened? Wait, and then it ruins it. I get that, but just give me the option. That's all we're asking.
Let us dig our own graves when it comes to that.
They're going to get the view from it anyway. Why do they care?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be shown that it was watched. Who cares if we actually watched it?
I know they're almost like shooting themselves in the foot there. So we already touched that there's an incredible day one lineup. We have lists in front of us. So I just want to point out, this list is so long, I literally couldn't put it on the little screen that we have because it's comprehensive. And I'm wondering how long it's going to stay this comprehensive, because where do you go from here? But so going back to the top here, aside from a ton of Disney movies, Alice in Wonderland, there's the animated one, the new one, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War, Age of Ultron, Endgame, and of course the regular Avengers.
And in 4K, they said they
4K.
will have 4K.
How do you really can't get any better than this. Black Panther, Bridge to Terabithia, Brother Bear, Bug's Life, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Civil War, Captain America First Avenger. Wait, where's Winter Soldier? Interesting. Not seeing it on the list I have pulled up here.
I mean, it is possible this list, they accidentally forgot Captain America Winter Soldier out of the 500.
That's one of the best ones.
It is. It's a great movie. I used to fall asleep to that for like a year. Such a good movie.
Hercules. And everyone was freaking out that we were getting Endgame already. Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Iron Man and Hulk Heroes United.
Well, I don't think they're going to hold any punches from the start. I think they're looking to knock out some of their competition just off the get-go. They want to kind of corner the market, like to get rid of people's viewerships from Netflix and stuff like that. So I think that's why they did it. They can just come out swinging with every Disney show, all the Marvel stuff, and then on top of it, their originals that they're coming out with.
They just got to be careful not to pull a DC Universe or whatever their streaming service was called. There was that significant. I can't even think of it.
Well, I mean, when your movies themselves aren't even good, what's the point?
But they had from what I understand, they had a decent catalog, and then they pulled everything off. And then they put everything on, the Wonder Woman stuff on for Wonder Woman Day, and then the Batman stuff for Batman Day, and then they even canceled Swamp Thing.
That's something that DC that's something DC would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like all the Star Wars movies, even Rogue One. And then to me, another one of the most exciting things, I know we already touched on it, is we're getting the 90s shows such as the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man the animated series.
Yeah, they're so good.
Hoping they're at least, upgraded to HD, which can scale to 4K just fine. But because right now there's not really a good way to watch those. Like we were trying to watch the Dark Phoenix saga before the failed Fox Dark Phoenix movie, and I had to buy it in SD through Amazon.
Yeah,
and it didn't look that good on the TV.
It does take a little bit away from it.
So just to be able to consume that.
What I also would like to see is if they Disney's not stupid. If they see that there's a large amount of viewership to those older shows, if they maybe think, hey, they keep rebooting their Spider-Man shows, they keep rebooting their Avengers shows, maybe we need to make it a little more how like those shows were instead of making it how the newer shows are.
They just need to make sequels to them. Because from what I understand, some of the original producers on X-Men, the animated series, are trying to pitch to Marvel to do one more season of X-Men.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. Because it didn't really resolve.
I think they should just reboot it. I'm not saying it needs to be rebooted, but like I want more than one season is my point. Like I want I think how they what they did was great, but give me essentially the same thing just redone. I'd be happy with that.
I mean, why can't? I mean, we have a good thing. Like, why can't they just continue? Like, there's so many more stories they haven't even touched on. I mean, sure, it'd be cool to get like an updated version of the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah,
because if you remember in the '90s X-Men version, the way they did the Hellfire Club, they called it the Inner Circle, which of course, yes, they were the Inner Circle of the Hellfire Club, but they didn't want to say Hellfire Club, so they just called the whole organization the Inner Circle. Like little things like that. It would just be fun to really, but it was a great adaptation of the source material. Oh, and the Silver Surfer animated series is going to be on there too.
Yeah, I think they have some Spider the Iron Man one too.
Yep. Oh yeah,
that's on there.
I have those on DVD.
Yes, I have a couple of them on DVD as well.
And we're getting
Spider Woman 1979.
Oh, I wasn't even aware of that.
I don't even know what that is, and I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's the '81 Spider-Man, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, kind of rough to watch.
It is, but I mean, for the time, it was good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
So, is that what you're most excited for? Is the '90s shows?
That's tough to say. I mean, I'm really excited to kind of relive the 90s shows, but the Disney original stuff is right there with all the, obviously we already talked about the Mandalorian, but all the Marvel the big thing is Marvel Studios shows that are coming out. This isn't Marvel TV Association. So they're not going to ruin it like they did with the Inhumans. We just pretend like that thing never happened, and maybe they'll reboot it.
It seems like they are.
Yeah, I hope so, because honestly, I love the Inhumans, and they dropped the ball on that. So I also feel like that's probably the biggest reason why Marvel Studios is doing it. They're like, hey, you dropped the ball on that, so you're out of this. Sorry, and it's time to move on with the new shows like WandaVision, Loki, and all the other exciting shows coming out.
Fortunately, a lot of the MCU ones aren't going to be available day one, but they're definitely causing some hype with all the announcements, and I feel like they almost announced too many. Like there's a ton of the shows coming out, and since they're also being worked on Marvel Studios at the same time as their movies, I mean, like it just seems like a lot, and it's fine. Like I'm definitely not complaining, but I think it's really neat that they're going to be so integrated to the movies, because that's really what a lot of the television has been lacking. Because after the first couple of seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there really wasn't a lot of cohesiveness and just very, very loose references.
I think they were kind of worried about people kind of getting lost, and I feel like from their perspective they needed, because I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of died off a little bit there at the end, and maybe their viewership might not have been what they really, really were hoping for. That they were like, hey, let's just hold off on integrating them really closely together until we finish Endgame, so that way we can come to a close and people aren't like, wait, what happened? Wait, what is this? And then now I think they have a little more confidence that, hey, we already did what we want to do. This is all icing on the cake. Now let's really start integrating everything together.
From what I understood, they just didn't get along, and to me, that's nonsense.
Well, yeah, that's nonsense.
That's unacceptable.
So what, you did that? You didn't get along, so you made a really bad Inhumans movie? Is that what happened? I'm confused. But yeah, the Marvel shows have been okay. I mean, Netflix stuff was good. Most of it.
I think the Inhumans failing the way it did made them want to do these Disney Plus shows the way they are under
100%
under the
Marvel Studios.
Having them have the control and the integration, because the Inhumans are great and they're great as a standalone character and stuff, but it's more fun when they cross over with Guardians or Silver Surfer or all the cosmic stuff. If they just kind of hung out with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I mean, whatever. That's a lot less interesting. And it's a shame that they couldn't get that together so they could participate in Infinity War and Endgame and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame. It was maybe a little missed opportunity, but it is what it is. Everything still worked out in the end, and hopefully these shows will be better than all the last ones. And I have really high hopes for them.
The last ones being what? You talking about like Daredevil or?
No, I'm just, Iron
Shield
Fist
and
wasn't
Agent
that good.
Carter, yeah.
Agent of Shield was okay, just kind of got boring after a while. Agent Carter was decent, but it wasn't. It wasn't like when I went to see the Marvel movies. They weren't just it was decent. It was like very good. I liked it. Great comic book movie compared to it wasn't like the older Daredevil or something like that. Where for the time that Daredevil movie wasn't that bad. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. With the Matt Damon one.
The time was fun.
The Ben Affleck one. Matt Damon. Yeah. Matt Damon is Daredevil.
It was a little campy. The director's cut, was better. But I get what you're saying. And then, something we've talked about on previous episodes was like, do you actually need it? Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was one thing, but like, did we need an Agent Carter show? Maybe not. I mean, she's a popular character. And I'll take it a step further. Did they need to try to make it like an ongoing? Like, why couldn't it just be a miniseries? Maybe it was something better that served as, a smaller arc.
I don't know if there was something else there that they were planning on doing, because as you know, like I'm sure if you're listening to this, there's a 99% chance you've seen Endgame already. But she's obviously there in it, for that little part. So if there was going to be more to it than that, or if that series was going to somehow lead into like kind of coming together sort of a thing.
I think it was
and it kind of just failed, or they were just really hoping that, hey, this might go off. I loved her. I thought she was great. I'm not going to lie.
She's a fan favorite character. And that's what they were trying to do, is like keep her around and monopolize on that. But I mean, like, it's not like she's She-Hulk, you know? Like she's, sure, a founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. and sure, it's fun to explore that time period. But I mean, like, how far are you going to take it without wasting characters for like the movies and stuff,
Right.
It's kind of part of the problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You brought in Graviton, and I thought, wow, if they're bringing Graviton, for sure they're going to bring the Avengers in like some season finale or series finale, and it's going to be this crazy fight, because how else are they going to take care of Graviton?
Right.
And I never got that.
Blizzard was in there.
There was a couple of cool, even Deathlock. Like, I mean, he was cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, nothing really went around. I thought Graviton, he's like an Avengers level threat. I thought for sure we were
Mr. Hyde.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
There was just so many that you just literally threw away.
And then they built up what's her name so much, and then she just turned out to be Quake. They took so long to build it up that almost didn't pay off.
Well, what really didn't pay off was the fact that she was an Inhuman, and you ruined the Inhuman. So you literally, the whole buildup literally just went for nothing. Because that whole thing was leading up to, we're going to have an Inhumans thing. They're going to do something with the humans, and then you gave me this
And it was
garbage.
supposed to integrate with the movie, because if you remember, as everyone remembers, Inhumans was supposed to be a movie. They switched it to a TV show at the last minute because they weren't getting along with the TV studio. So they're like, okay, we'll do the TV show instead. And that's a shame.
Yeah, that's such a shame.
So these TV shows, there's a lot of potential being under the Marvel Studios, I don't want to say banner, but like control, I guess. So they're already saying like the WandaVision is going to have huge implications for the MCU,
Which is exciting.
And Loki is going to have some like direct ties to the next Doctor Strange movie, which is actually one I'm probably most looking forward to in the Phase 4 lineup.
That's actually the movie I'm also most looking forward to. The Loki show, I know that they're saying, the WandaVision's going to have a huge, and so is Loki's going to have a direct effect with the Doctor Strange, like you said. But I think all of them are going to have a bigger effect than they have at least let on so far. Because honestly, I feel like a lot of these shows, even the next upcoming Marvel movie, Black Widow, is the next one that comes out. They're all kind of prequels, I guess you could say, right? They're not, none of these take place after Endgame. necessarily.
No, they do.
The Loki show?
The Loki doesn't, but
Right,
the Loki
and
one is an
WandaVision-
alternate reality.
Right.
WandaVision does take place after Endgame.
But it's an alternate reality
Nope.
almost.
No, it's not. It's
But it takes place in the 50s and the
yes,
60s. It's
because of her powers.
Right.
It's her. Her reality
right.
control, because we know her powers come from that reality stone.
right.
So like this does take place after Endgame, and Vision is dead.
Right. So how I feel, especially with the what if stuff, and mainly also the Loki, because it's Loki, it's the same Loki, but it's not really the same Loki.
It's Loki from the past who's now branched into a different reality because they removed an Infinity Stone.
Right. So I think with that part, I think this is really leading, and even with, like I said, the Black Widow is kind of a prequel. I think it's going to show a little bit more into alternate universes, but I think that the end point I'm getting at is that it's going to, I think, lead more into a Kang bad guy, just because I think that Loki is a big enough of a bad guy, especially, Infinity Stone and whatnot, to, hey, if this is kind of a different timeline, we can kind of go wherever we want with this, but we could also put this in the universe that Kang could be in when he comes back to fight the Avengers, right? Because he's technically not in the same universe. He's in the 6311.
What happened? Like, they just dropped the Tesseract, and then he goes through time and sees like, you guys are messing with time, and I'm the Lord of Time, and you guys can't be doing this. Like, I have to stop you.
Right. So I think it has bigger implications, and especially with, Doctor Strange movie, and it literally can go anywhere. Doctor Strange is all about different dimensions, so you have no idea where they're going to go with that. So I think that those two things really can lead into bigger stuff, and even the what if series that they have coming out, I have no doubt that it's going to have plenty of stuff that's like, what if this happened? But I wouldn't be surprised if some of it will be canon for the Kang's universe.
Interesting.
And it's not necessarily going to be like, oh, just a what if, like little one shots here and there. I think it's going to have bigger implications than they have let on so far.
I mean, maybe at least one of the episodes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think it'll.
We know there'll probably be a Marvel Zombies episode.
Right.
Oh
gosh, please, just not too many of those, because then it's going to be, the Walking Dead, Marvel, The Walking Dead.
No, if they were going to do Marvel Zombies, this is how I want them to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Or if they're going to, I don't know. Have they really gotten into any detail about it? Really? I don't think so.
No, just the first, they announced the synopsis for the first episode is what if Peggy Carter did the super soldier serum, so she becomes Captain America, but I guess it would be Captain Britain, right?
Is that how they're going to do Captain Britain?
I don't know, but like she's British, so she can't be Captain America.
Well, there was that like female Captain Britain chick for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
It was like in Captain Britain. Well, I'm going to say Captain Britain number like 17 or something. There's this like female Captain Britain chick on the cover of the I'm talking about the UK comics. I'm not talking about the Marvel. I'm talking about it came in the 70s when Captain Britain, the big magazine size ones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a female Captain Britain. So maybe that's going to be part of it.
Maybe. I mean, it's what if, so I mean, it's a little arbitrary, but I mean, like to me, like one of the coolest things about like the what if comics is like sometimes like they just become the canon anyway.
Right.
So it could also be interesting to see what works so well that they just make it happen anyway. I mean, there's female Thor, what if Jane Foster?
Right. And that actually turned into a thing.
That actually happened, like that's how Wolverine got his fangs. And there's several other different things. I think like that was the first time they separated Hulk from Bruce Banner, I want to say. Was it a what if comic? But then that actually happened later. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say that happened.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting, and I think, like I said, it can have bigger implications than we realize.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's going to be exciting to see not only the movies cross over with the TV shows, but it's going to be more exciting to see the TV shows come into the movies, because like that was one of the most disappointing things about like shows like Daredevil. You know, you don't have Daredevil and Kingpin crossing over with Spider-Man yet, even though that's some of like the most fun crossovers, you know, that there are.
You know, it'd be kind of cool. And I'm not saying they should do this for all of them, but for like maybe one or two, they could do what ifs of moments that happened already in the movies. So like for example, with Infinity War, like what if when they try ripping off his Infinity Gauntlet, they actually do get it off? And then what happens? It'd be cool to like relive it, like, because it's obviously going to be, you know, Doctor Strange saw all those things happen, so you could do one or two of those, and it'd be really interesting to watch. Like, you know, Spider-Man rips it off, and then what happens? Does he put it on? Like, who puts, like, someone else puts it on, and then how does it change everything? Like, what the implications of that would be?
Well, there's 1,063
right.
other ones.
So we could do 1,063 episodes. Okay, got it.
It'll be like the end of Doctor Strange 1 of him just doing Infinity War over and over again. Thanos, cool. I've come to bargain.
It'd be cool, you know, just to see like different ones.
If Star-Lord can keep his you-know-what together, and like he didn't stop them from...
Well, like, I mean, Doctor Strange could have just stopped him immediately when he was arguing with him. He just knew he wasn't supposed to, you know?
Where was Doctor Strange at that part?
I believe he
was doing something else. He had his cape do something to Thanos, and then he was doing something
tied down with his rope thing, his little magic rope.
Oh, his magic rope, is that what it was?
And he was pulling on one side while Spider-Man was ripping, and Iron Man was ripping at the Infinity Gauntlet.
To me, like, that was the worst part of Infinity War. I didn't like that they were that close to getting the gauntlet off of him.
Well, I mean, in the comic, Nebula got the gauntlet off him by herself.
Okay.
And she was half dead.
I concede. Okay.
You know?
Fine. Okay.
And to be fair, what's her name being on top of him, trying to put him to sleep? She put Ego, who was a Celestial, right?
Wow.
And he was like, nah, I'm not going to sleep. You know?
Okay. You got me. I concede. I have changed my mind. You have talked me
I also don't like
into believing.
Come on, I understand, like, I would be furious, but you're talking about you're gonna hit him for literally the end of the world, like, you know, really? That is kind of stupid.
I know. See, like, I am for no good reason at all, I don't care for Chris Pratt, so I don't like Star-Lord. And like, to me, like, yeah, Star-Lord blew it.
But he didn't blow it. He didn't blow it because that's what was supposed to happen.
Sure, because what would happen? Like, none of them could handle the gauntlet, and then Thanos just gets it back anyway.
Yeah.
And then more of them die.
Right.
And then he kills Doctor Strange, and then you can't unsnap Doctor Strange because he killed him right there before the snap. You know, like little things like that. Or probably most importantly is he kills Iron Man.
Right. Which he already almost did.
Yes,
anyway.
Exactly. So like, if he killed Iron Man right there,
then it's over.
And then even when they were undoing it, like, they couldn't undo it. Like, literally they could not have undone Infinity War without Tony Stark. So Iron Man dying ruins everything.
Yes.
In this reality anyway.
Iron Man dying. We should say Iron Man dying at that moment. He has to die later. Yeah. He has to still be alive.
He has to get everyone back in time and get the Infinity Stones. But something that recently came out with is the Russo brothers confirmed that Thanos' sword was Uru. So another crazy thing about WandaVision is not only is she powerful enough to destroy Uru or an Infinity Stone, she's powerful enough to destroy Uru. Like, that's how powerful she is.
The show doesn't come out on launch day, so this is unfortunate. I think she's going to create X-Men.
Oh yeah, I guess you weren't here, but I've talked about that with Ken. It's like, I think we might get a reverse House of M.
Yeah,
instead of no more mutants, it's gonna create mutants, or perhaps combine a reality similar to the Fox world or something.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, how else do you explain the X-Men too? You know, it's kind of hard to bring them in all of a sudden, or do you just say, hey, it's part of the snap? You know, these people came back and now they're mutated. That could be 100%.
Why not? Well,
possible.
Hulk said that this is very similar to gamma radiation. So why not? I don't think I'd have a problem with that.
Is that why She-Hulk's going to be around?
I hope not.
That would be kind of
lame. It better
lame.
be a blood transfusion, because if it's Jennifer Walters, she's related to Hulk. Like, you gotta do it. And I've told Ken this before on previous episodes, is like, I'm surprised they haven't just found an excuse in any of these movies to just bring in Jennifer Walters as like the Avengers lawyer or something, have her injured in one of these crazy things, and she's like bleeding out, and then like only Bruce Banner is the correct blood type to save her, and he's like, yo, no, I could kill her. And it's like, well, she'll die if you don't, so like we need to try it, kind of a thing. Like, you literally could have done that at any point. And then after the credit scene is her in the hospital bed and she's turning green.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
they kind of dropped the ball on Civil War with that. You know,
sure, there you go.
You could have had her in the middle of there arguing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you have Red Hulk arguing against them. You could have had She-Hulk arguing against Red Hulk, technically, you know, because it's, you know, Thunderbolt Ross, you know.
Yeah.
So that could have been kind of cool, because that kind of could have led to like a future, if you wanted to do Red Hulk versus She-Hulk kind of a thing. You'd be like, oh, this chick, you know, you're always for them and blah, blah, blah.
I don't want a Red Hulk yet. I know I keep seeing like people in the air like, oh, make Thunderbolt Ross Red Hulk and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want that yet. Like, that didn't happen until the comics till recently. Like, we haven't even had a Hulk and leader movie yet. Like, it's not time to bring in Red Hulk. Like, we have not run out of Hulk stories. We haven't even done any. All we did was Abomination, and he was part of the Avengers. We've done nothing else. We haven't even done Grey Hulk.
And at this point, it almost feels like that wasn't even part of the Marvel universe. You know what I mean?
Almost, but I mean, there's enough references.
I know, but it's just
events.
because they changed. It was a big change in like actors, and yeah, that was.
Well, Thunderbolt Ross was still in it.
Yes, he was. I know.
But where's Betty? I don't know. Betty's gone.
Yeah, and where's Doc Samson?
More importantly, where's the leader? Because you created him.
Yeah.
I guess he's in. I guess Shield took him, but like we got the setup for the leader movie, and we never got it. We never got the Grey Hulk, and I think they almost did it a few times. There's so much to explore for Hulk. We don't need Red Hulk yet.
Right.
That's how I feel. So I know before we mentioned shows that we go to sleep to, and one of the things we want to talk about this episode was some guilty pleasure movies and TV shows. So it's great that Disney Plus is going to provide us some things to fall asleep to. But so you meant, do you consider like shows like Bob Burgers a guilty pleasure? Or I mean, 'cause that is a pop culture thing, and it seems acceptable to me. So like, what is a show or movie that you consider a guilty pleasure?
I think Adventure Time is definitely one of those shows.
Okay. I know it's
kind of popular, but at the same time, it's more like a kid's show, but it's just something that's, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I guess, kind of unique. It's kind of its own universe. It has a good story that, you know, continues on from episode to episode. So, you know, it keeps you guessing. I just think it's kind of like one of those shows that there's more to it than, you know, probably the little kids that are watching it. I'm sure they enjoy it, but there's more to it than they realize, kind of a thing. Oh, yeah. Just like any other show, like even Teen Titans Go. That show is really good, but there's like some like little things that, you know, are actually like kind of funny that maybe a little kid wouldn't get. Or
Teen Titans Go is different than a show like Adventure Time, because to me, Adventure Time, from what I understand, is more like something like Gumball or Steven Universe. Because there's a lot of deep stuff in Steven Universe and Gumball. And although there's deeper things in Teen Titans, it's different. It's not an overarching mythology.
Right.
Teen Titans Go just has things that adults are going to find a lot funnier than kids, especially like the soccer episode, for example. Like, soccer is the most boring sport in the world. All it is kicking a ball and pretending to be hurt.
Yeah, it good. Or even when they do like the stupid things, like when they do the pyramid scheme.
Yes.
And they talk about it. That's hilarious. The kids they don't know what a pyramid scheme, and they don't really get it. And it's just funny. Or the like, Oregon Trail. No kids today played the Oregon Trail.
The kids take it as just something silly, but it's hilarious that they're talking about pyramid schemes, and it's like that money comes from mummies.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a pyramid. Yeah, there's a lot of really smart jokes in there, and I think the producers, Michael Jelnick and the other guy's name is slipping my mind. And then how about one of my favorite multi-part episodes is the whole Night Begins to Shine thing.
Oh.
We start off as a little one shot, which is probably my favorite episode. But like, that's first of all, it's a great song.
Right. Yes, it is actually a great song.
But like they made its own little 80s world, and that's playing to people who were kids in the 80s. It's
Right.
like, that's not for kids.
Right. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's the best thing that DC has ever done.
That's unfortunate. And sure, like I know it's, a lot of DC fans, complain online like, oh, this show is ridiculous and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you really can't look at it as a DC show because it's really just its own parody.
Right. I mean, at the same time, I kind of get it because if they did it with a Marvel show, I'm gonna be honest, I probably wouldn't bother watching it.
Yes. No, I completely agree.
So
I was actually just going to say that.
I get it. At the same time, it's also part of the problem is Teen Titans Go, when they had the animated one that was a serious show, people love that show. And you're giving them that show. You're taking like some of the people's favorite shows and just making it this stupid little kids thing. And that's, I think that is also where the frustration comes from. It's not just like, hey, we just decided to do like Teen Titans out of nowhere and we just kind of make it funny. It was like, hey,
and
we
they
used to
kept
have
the
the
voice
show.
cast.
Right. So it just, I think it kind of, and they did do that one episode where they did the old animated, right? And
they redubbed what they were saying. So for those of you who don't know, one of the Teen Titans Go episodes, they took an episode of Teen Titans and they redid what they were saying so that it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's this whole episode with Deathstroke, and then I can't even begin to explain it to you, but it's like if you ever played that game when you were a kid where you would mute a television show and you would just make up what the characters were saying. You all picked a character. Like that's how this episode plays out.
yeah, it was actually great, but at the same time,
awesome.
I can understand the frustration from the DC fans of like, I want this show and you guys are giving me this little kids thing that's, I'd be frustrated too, but it is a good show though. I will say that.
I do encourage DC fans to just don't take it as a DC show. Just take it for what it is, because there's some high level parody in there that I don't know. But if you don't have the intellectual capacity for that, it's okay.
But Steven Universe and Adventure Time, those are just great shows.
My goodness, I'm trying to think if a cartoon has made me cry before Steven Universe, but I would definitely say I don't think I have cried as much. It was just, gosh, there were so many, especially within the last couple of seasons. But what got me into Steven Universe, I always thought it was stupid, and I found Steven particularly annoying.
I still find him annoying.
He is pretty annoying, but like over the last few episodes, he's much more mature. But anyway, Steven was so annoying I couldn't get past that. But I saw an episode, I think it's called One Pale Rose. Don't quote me on that. But it's a musical episode, which also took me by surprise. But Greg has just come, which is Steven's father, came into a lot of money, and they go to Empire City, which is Steven Universe's version of New York, and they take Pearl with them. And in this episode, you find out that Pearl was actually in love with Steven's mom, and she's upset with Greg about it. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought this was like a little kid's show, but like there's some whole messed up stuff going on. Like his mom is dead, and now then this is a musical, and then she's holding this grudge, and oh my gosh.
Well, just like every great Disney movie, some parent has to die, I guess.
I guess so. So that's what Rebecca Sugar, I guess, was going with there. And then forget about the rest of the mythology with Steven's mother, who was a gem. She was rose quartz. And then I guess I'm not going to talk too much further into that in case any of you are interested in watching it or thought about getting into it. Some incredible stuff. I think rose quartz is one of my favorite characters.
A lot of plot twists in the show.
Yeah. And then one of the plot twists that they did take with rose quartz was something that was predicted online, And even though it was a theory that I've read before, I was still shocked and in tears when they finally did that episode. Like I couldn't believe it. And the movie was also great. Did you see the movie?
Yes.
With Spinell?
Yeah, I believe so. The one with all
The heart, the upside down heart gem.
I think that was at towards the end. Because I think on my DVR it broke it up into like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, because that's how it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it like.
Well,
the
she
last
starts
episode.
that way and ends that way.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if you haven't sat and watched it, it's actually really good.
I just walked away. I couldn't.
No,
I didn't want to deal with it.
You really don't understand. Because at first I was like, this character is stupid. I'm like, oh, why did they make it? And then once the story plays out, like, oh my gosh, like I love Spinell now, and I felt so bad. And one thing they do, I think, in Steven Universe is like just the characters are incredible. Like they can be tragic. You know, there's growth, there's development. I mean, even Steven has come a long way because Steven is so annoying, especially in the first 2 or 3 seasons. But he does mature over time, especially now that the characters hit puberty. He even sounds different.
Well, I think the big thing, especially with shows like Steven Universe, and even some of like the Marvel films, but like even just films in general, I feel like there's more being put into storylines of specific characters, but like more so like the bad guys. So what I mean is, like, I feel like a lot of shows before, or even movies, it was kind of like, this guy's the bad guy. He's bad.
I'm the bad guy.
Like
I'm evil.
There is no like, this is the reason I went through this. Like you don't get to understand the viewpoint from like, why is that bad guy bad? Kind of like with the Thanos thing, right? Why was he bad? Well, he kind of like takes you through the storyline. So you could almost say, well, like he's kind of right. You know what I mean? Like you could actually make that argument. You know what I'm saying?
One of my favorite memes is there's a dad and a son. And then the son says, Daddy, what was the name of the bad guy in Infinity War again? And like, which one, son? And he's like, the one in purple. And then the dad says, I'm sorry, son, I don't think any of the Avengers wear purple. So I was like, that's the perfect description of Infinity War.
Well, yeah, but like between that and like we were just talking about Steven Universe, like, because even some of the bad ones or people that are against Steven kind of a thing, it's not necessarily that they're like evil or bad. It's just they have like, this is their viewpoint and this is the reason why. So you can kind of come to somewhat of an understanding of, oh, well, they went through this. So like, that's kind of why they are the way they are.
Absolutely.
So
I mean,
I think that it's just kind of like an evolution throughout Hollywood and just general, TV shows in general that, hey, we need to like put a reason why these people are bad. They're not just bad because they're bad. There has to be more to it than just, I'm an evil bad guy. Oh,
I mean, it was true for Peridot. It was true for Lapis. It was true for Jesper, even though Jesper is pretty bad. To Jesper, you shattered his diamond.
Right.
Her diamond. And, like how else are you going to react to that? And, even Blue Diamond and Yellow Diamond, like they were bad guys, but like they went through, all their motivations. And that's what I love about She-Ra. What got me hooked on the new She-Ra, the DreamWorks She-Ra series, my wife was watching it. She was homesick, and I came home to the season finale of season 1. And like, it was going down. And I was throughout the rest of the day, like there was this character, Katra, and she had one blue eye, one yellow eye. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like she's like this cat creature with like 2 different colored eyes.
She is
and it's just
hemo,
yeah,
whatever.
But she's like a cat person. She's got claws, and I was like, this is a little deeper. So I went and we watched the whole thing again, and like, I love Katra. Katra, she's one of the main bad guys. So like, we did have Hordak, who in season 1 is a little more like, ha ha ha, I'm the bad guy, but does get a lot of character development in the subsequent seasons. But Katra was best friends with Adora, who is She-Ra, and they were both in the Horde together, but Adora defects and when she becomes She-Ra, and she realizes the Horde is doing bad things. And then Katra was like, of course the Horde is doing bad things. Like, what did you think we're doing? We're conquering these people and stuff, and they're manipulating us. Like, I thought you knew that, but I thought we were going to overthrow everything and just rule together and it was just be me and you. So like Catra saw all the evil that they were doing, but she just wanted to have a friend and wanted it to be just them against the world. So to her, Adora abandoning her was the worst thing.
Right.
So like I was like, it was incredible. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna get you, you know, like there's so much more to it, and that's the motivation for her going forward.
And I think like another show like we were talking about, like Adventure Time, almost every single character, or definitely every single character, gets their own like couple episodes every once in a while and shows you either like a backstory and then it's just like all of a sudden you're like, wow, had no idea. Like probably if you just like glance and watch a show, you probably see like the Ice King and you're like, you know who the Ice King is, right? He's the dumbest character.
I've randomly come across the show and he's been on there, and yes, I did get that impression. I'm like, okay.
He's probably the dumbest character, but he's the deepest and it's probably the most, maybe one of the most emotional characters you will ever learn about in that show.
Tell me why he's the deepest, because like I read about some of the end of Adventure Time, and it's like it's intrigued me to start it. And I heard you have to get past season.
So I don't
1.
want to get into too much because I don't want to spoil it, because I think you should watch it. I think you'll love it. But basically, he's the Ice King. That crown kind of gives him his power.
Okay.
But he was kind of, so Adventure Time takes place. It's a post-apocalyptic thing.
Okay.
There kind of isn't really people. Like Finn, who's the main character, is like the only kind of like person basically around. Everyone else is just some weird thing.
Yeah.
Or
I've noticed that there's like a cloud and an elephant and a vampire.
Right. So there was this event that happened, right? So then like all of a sudden people are, there's no more people and everything's weird now. So, but the Ice King basically has that crown, and that crown made him that way because it's kind of like, it's like evil, or it was kind of like destroying his body and destroying his brain, but he was keeping it on to keep somebody very close to him safe, because it was the only way to keep them safe. And he sacrifices himself, making himself the way he is now to do that. And he ends up he actually, because of the damage it does to his brain, he actually forgets who he basically is. So he turns into this completely different character. But they go through that, and he actually, I don't want to get too much into it, but he does actually, at some point, it does kind of come back to him, and not the memories, but like they try getting everything back to him, and they actually discover what's wrong. Is it kind of like
a Mr. Freeze thing too? His wife is in...
Kind of, yeah. But it's very good. It's very well done. And, Gunther's awesome too. The old penguins, they're great. Gunther, Ginther, and yeah, whatever. But it's a really good show. If you haven't watched it, it's definitely something to get into.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, we've talked a lot about some of our TV shows, and before we wrap up, I want to at least try to get a guilty pleasure movie in here. I know you said you kind of watch like the same old things, but
so one movie that I know gets really bad reviews, and I honestly don't even understand it. Just maybe outside, just hey, it wasn't that maybe the plot wasn't that great. I guess I don't know, but Armageddon is got to be one of my favorite movies. Like if it's on, I'm watching it.
Are you serious?
It makes me cry, first of all. And second of all, it's just the cast itself is phenomenal. You have Ben Affleck, you have
Bruce Willis,
Liv Tyler,
Steve Buscemi.
Uh-huh.
Gosh, the guy who's like the Russian. This is how we fix spaceship in Soviet Russia.
Yeah, and then you have Billy Bob Thornton. You have what's his name that played Kingpin? He passed away.
Oh yeah, Michael
Clark Duncan. It's a great cast, and it's just there's so many good moments. It's also one of those movies that has so many good moments, and I don't know. I don't know why it gets such a bad rep. I know it's kind of like a cheesy, the world's gonna end type of movie, but it's just a good movie. It's funny. It has its moments, and it's a very emotional. Like I think it's one of the first movies that ever made me cry. I watched it and I cried.
I hate to admit the first movie that made me cry, I think, because I never really cried in movies until I don't think I was emotionally mature enough until Hidalgo. And it wasn't even the first time I saw Hidalgo. It was like the third or fourth time. And it just,
What is wrong with you?
I was watching it in like the living room and I was just like, it got to the horse was like dying.
I'm pretty sure I was like 8 when I watched Armageddon and I cried.
Yeah, I think it was Hidalgo.
And then probably right
after that was like Return of the King.
I cried at, I cried at
When Qui-Gon dies?
Qui-Gon
Yeah.
dies. That got me.
Well, that's devastating.
My favorite Jedi just instantly dead after one movie.
I don't know. I'm not saying Armageddon is bad, but it's whatever. It's fine. It's a popcorn movie. It's fun. To me, like the ultimate form of guilty pleasure movie comes like in the form of a movie like Fifth Element. Now, Fifth Element's pretty good, but I mean, it's good in sort of a cult classic movie, kind of way.
Yeah, it's actually a good movie. It's kind of just
good,
weird.
Good actors. We got Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
And there's another Bruce Willis movie.
Well, that's weird that we have guilty pleasures and they're both Bruce. Are we saying something about Bruce Willis? I don't know.
What are you doing, Bruce Willis?
And then you have what's his name?
Ian Holm?
No. Well, yes, he's.
Are you talking about
1, 2,
Chris,
3,
Chris Tucker?
4. Yes.
Yes, Chris Tucker. Gosh, yes, that's probably one of his best roles.
It was a very interesting role. Not gonna lie.
No, it was great, and it's just little things like that. It was fun, and the director Luc Besson, he just has fun, with stuff like that. But I mean, one of the best things that really came out of Fifth Element. Do you know what I'm going to say?
No, I'm
so something
confused.
happened in the middle of production, and Bruce Willis had to leave. I don't know if he got hurt or had to go shoot something. So what happened is Luc Besson wrote a movie, and he took Gary Oldman with him. And you know what that movie was?
No.
The Professional. They shot The Professional and then went back to finish The Fifth Element.
That's amazing.
Then The Professional to me is like one of my favorite movies ever. For those of you who can't see us, because this is a podcast, I have a professional art print that artist Tess Fowler did.
Wait, who can see us?
No,
I'm scared now. Is there a camera somewhere?
I wasn't thinking about my cinema story. But anyway, the Professional came out of The Fifth Element.
Are they then in the same universe? No,
Right.
I'm just kidding. Although that movie, you can't make that movie today.
What? Oh, The Professional, yeah.
It's a little...
But it's just good. Yes,
yes.
But we won't get into that. But Fifth Element, to me, like that's a movie it's on. I'll watch it for the most part, depending what's on.
You mentioned Hidalgo. I haven't seen that movie in forever. That was a very good movie.
It was good.
It was a good movie. I'm trying to think of. I didn't cry during that though. I mean, I got emotional. Don't get me wrong. I got very emotional, but I don't think it brought me to tears.
I've noticed that the older I get, I can cry during an episode or a movie a lot easier. Because like the whole season 4 of She-Ra, I'll admit, like I was on edge, and I was hoping that. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but I was hoping something was going to happen. Something happens in one of the seasons, and I literally had tears like running down my face. Like I was not okay. Like it was ridiculous.
I mean, I cried at Endgame.
Yes, that was another one. And then as soon as
I cried like 3 times at Endgame. Now that I think about it.
I think it was twice for me. I was on the edge when Iron Man snapped, and then
I lost it before that happened. I knew it was coming. Basically, when they showed Doctor Strange put up the 1, I lost it because I knew what that meant. I was like, no. And then once he snapped and he was like, "Where are my stones?" I was like, no. And then it was just like I saw him with it. I'm like, he's dead.
I wasn't sure what the one. I was wondering what they were, but as soon as he checked the stones, I was like, oh my gosh, he just took them, and then he had and I am Iron Man. Boom. I don't think it's
the first 5 seconds of the movie made me cry. That was one of the hardest things even to watch, and I knew it was going to happen the second they panned to it. I was like, I literally even said out loud to Alicia sitting next to me, "Oh no."
Lance, I told you that you needed to prepare.
No, I
for
was
Iron Man to
prepared.
die.
No. It wasn't about, but it wasn't that. It was just how they opened the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, please don't actually show this. And it was just, it's such a good, I don't know. There's some people that don't like the movie, but that was such a good way to open the movie. But at the same time, that was
You're talking about
Hawkeye. They opened it with him.
Oh, I was thinking about, I thought you were talking about Tony talking to his.
No.
That, yeah. As soon as
they pan to the house, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I knew exactly what was happening because we knew Ronan was in the trailers, and
I know.
Why would he be running off without his family if he retired? Only one thing happened there.
But it was
they had a bad draw on 50%.
He drew the short straw. Yeah, that was something else. And then getting the Soul Stone for the second time, that got me. I cried.
I was right there, and I was really, really, really upset that it was Black Widow because I really, really wanted it to be Hawkeye. Because specifically, I did not want Black Widow to die, and I was shocked.
Yeah,
but I was still okay because I figured that's how they killed Gamora, and we need Gamora to come back, and you can't just kill Black Widow. I thought for sure, like, no, this is going to be okay. They're going to come back. I thought it was going to be fine.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I was fine with Gamora. Like, I was sad, but like, I was like, no, she's coming back. It's fine.
I was upset. I was so upset.
I was upset too, but I was like, I was more upset the fact that she wasn't participating in Endgame. But I thought for sure she'd be coming back.
Yeah.
And she did, just not in the way that we thought. And I'm still not sure how I feel about that, but it's fine.
Well, we'll see what happens with the new Gamora, I guess. I don't know. The alternate universe Gamora that they have.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
It's kind of weird. We'll see how maybe it'll play out right. Or maybe they felt like they wanted her to be a little more of
the world's deadliest assassin kind of a thing.
Then kind of like, oh, I'm in love.
Woman in the universe, yeah.
I'm in love with him already, kind of. So I think maybe that was the thought process behind that too.
Sure, whatever, it's fine because I don't want her to be in love with Star-Lord anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of not gonna lie. As much as I love the Guardians movie, and she does still have her. They've said her reputation. I felt like she hasn't shown her reputation. Like I've never seen something where she's done that. I'm like, damn, like she's so badass.
Mm-hmm.
So far, it's just been like, yeah, whatever you've done, like what every other person's done, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't really shown her world, you know, the most deadliest woman in the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right, and I would agree with that. So we will definitely see what happens. But I think that's just about all the time we have for today. I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time to listen, especially if you're listening on Tuesday the 12th. You allowed us to be part of your potential Disney Plus time. I don't expect any of you to even be listening on Tuesday. Maybe it's you saved us for Wednesday or later. But go out there and enjoy some Disney Plus. We appreciate you all liking, sharing, subscribing, leaving reviews on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean. You know, those things, you know, help us, you know, to keep going. And feel free to share your thoughts on what subjects you would like to hear us to talk about on future episodes, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's at Nightcap Chat on Facebook and Twitter, and at Nightcap_chat on Instagram. But thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next week.
I'm Lance O'Neill, and thanks for having me, and thanks for listening.